Okay, so it says recording is started. Last time I was not able to start the recording or something happened. I'm not that good sometimes with technical stuff. Okay, let me share my presentation so we can start today. Raise your hand or thumbs up if you can see the presentation. Okay, perfect. Thank you, everybody, for sharing that. Okay. Let me see. I see people that are still joining in. Okay, that sounds good. We're 11:02. Let's start. So, how to get into clinical research? First of all, there are many ways that you can get into clinical research, and what I'm going to share is based off my own experience. And as I continue to grow my career in clinical research, I noticed that there are different ways to get into clinical research. So I will share with you some of those. Okay. As for a disclaimer, the information presented in this webinar is intended to provide tips and guidance for medical doctors and international medical graduates, IMGs for medical doctors, and other professionals who are seeking to gain experience in clinical research. It might be as a clinical research assistant or study coordinator. The content is based on my own experience. Please note that the strategies and suggestions shared in this webinar are not exhaustive and may not guarantee success in securing position in clinical trials. Some of you are in different environment or different country, so you can use these strategies by always adapt to your personal circumstances. The process of getting into clinical research can vary depending on individual circumstances and the specific requirements of research sites where you're located at. Participants are encouraged to use this information as a starting point and supplement this with your further research and consultation with professionals in your field. You can network with other people and just gather the data and the insight that you need to pursue your career. The presenter and organizer of this webinar are not responsible for any outcome resulting for implementation of the tips and strategies discussed. So in our agenda for today, what you are going to be learning with me today is that I'm going to be introducing you to what is clinical research, just a general overview. And then I'm going to help you understand what are a roadmap or strategies based on your starting point, where can you start and how can you grow your career in clinical research. And I also want to share with you certification. These are common certifications used across the industries, especially starting up. You will need some of these to market yourself and to place yourself that you are ready to start in clinical research. So what is clinical research? I know that many of you have an understanding. Clinical research is very broad. And when we discuss about starting clinical research, there are various components that we need to understand. Clinical research starts with the development of the trial. There are clinical trials to test that development of new medication. And then it's going to be marketed and put in the pharmacies so patients can go and access this medication, but still then there's going to be data that is going to be collected. Okay. So clinical research is a branch of medicine that will focus on the study of new treatment, intervention, and medical device. The goal is to improve human health and the well-being. Okay. Either make new medications or make medications and treatment that are better than what is out there currently. Clinical research involved the systematic investigation of new medical treatments through collected studies involving human participants. Now, when they start collecting information and testing these new drugs into new humans or human participants, this is what is called clinical trials. And this is where is the biggest opportunity for medical doctors to get into clinical research and also have experience with the patients and see how those medications are working. The purpose of clinical research is to determine safety and efficacy of new treatment and to gain better understanding of the underlying mechanism of the disease. Clinical research can be conducted in various stages, so from clinical studies in the laboratory to large-scale clinical trials involving thousands of patients. So when you learn a little bit more about research, you will see that it's divided in phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And these phases will only progress if the phase 1 is completed and they are able to prove that the data that they collected is strong enough for them to move to phase 2. The result of this clinical research provide important information from the development and approval of new medical treatment and devices and play a crucial role in advancing medical knowledge and improving patient care. If you're in clinical research and you want to improve medicine or advance medicine, this is a great opportunity for medical doctors to bring their expertise, especially if they're foreign medical doctors, because you will help increase the diversity and inclusion of these clinical trials. Right now, it's very important that our patients and that the clinical trials have a broad group of participants so that the data generated with this clinical research it's stronger. Key holder in clinical research include CROs, or the clinical research organization, our sponsors that are the ones that are going to pay for the clinical trials and the research, pharma industry, healthcare professionals that work and put their time to make this possible. Regulatory bodies are the ones that are in charge of making sure that the clinical trials are conducted ethically and within the regulations, the sponsor and the study participants. If there are no study participants, there are patients that come and volunteer for clinical trials, there will not be any clinical trials going on. So we need to appreciate our participants when they come and make sure that they feel like, we care about them. Any question for now? Thumbs up if you're getting everything, if you're okay. So now we're going to see the possible framework for career growth, okay? And first, there are people that might say that starting in a low position, sometimes they call it as a clinical trial assistant or as a clinical research coordinator, is not worthy. With my experience, getting into a clinical research coordinator position was what helped me develop the skills, helped me develop the knowledge so I can move up to other and higher positions.
Are you going to order at a certain time or something?
So when we are working at a clinical research site, I think this is where the magic happens. It's where you get to see how the clinical trial work, and you can get to work, even if it's an operation, you get to network with other people in the field. You get to talk to your patient. And if you're a medical doctor, for a medical doctor or any healthcare that is using this as a way to build knowledge and to get experience so you can move to residency, here is where you can go and look for sites that are in your area of interest. There are clinical research sites that focus in internal medicine, pediatrics, neurology, cardiology. And if you come with a background of some of this, if you pair your skills with the right site, you can leverage who you are and get into these positions and get into this training and improve your chances of getting into residency. Okay. So I did start here. If you're looking to start in these positions, depending on where they are, some start in $45,000 to $50,000, up to $75,000, depending on your your experience. And this is in the United States, right? As you progress and you develop your skills, there are more things that you can do. You can move into some medical doctors. They just move to the CRO, do the sponsor, and do the CRA, which they are now monitoring those sites. They move to other career within the sponsor, and some just decide to stay in the site, to lead more trials, to manage the site, or to work as investigators, sub-investigators. Okay. Some become site owners. Some start in the CRA. They know um, the value of having a site, and they have these entrepreneur skills, and they want to be a site owners. But knowing what happened at the site will help you become a better site owner than just starting without knowing what are clinical research, what are clinical trials, how does it work, and getting that training for a site that is being actively doing research. Okay. Any question for now? Let me see in the chat. I don't have no question now. Raise your hand if you have a question before we discuss something else. No question. So here's where I want to, if you have a medical degree and an advanced degree, pay close attention. For clinical trial project management, CRAs, these require a bachelor degree. And for clinical trial liaison and medical science liaison, if you have heard about the position, it does require an advanced degree. Here's where, as a doctor or a healthcare provider, you will be communicating and exchanging information with other investigator, with research site, with other doctors, what they call KOL. And you will be sharing with them, gathering data, and here you will be developing more skills. And it's a very exciting opportunity for many. I know there are people that enjoy it very much. For pharmacovigilance, this is another opportunity where you can use your medical skills and you will be assessing what is going on with the drugs and with the adverse event and what's happening in the clinical trials, as well as medical monitoring. Now you're evaluating clinical trials and see what's going on, giving support to the clinical research sites. And you can continue to develop yourself in many of these careers, okay? There are some that are going to require you to travel a lot. There are some that are going to require you to sit a lot of times or to do different work. I think I like the site because you always get to be moving and there is no need for traveling, but you will get to travel too if you're working on a site because there are investigators meeting. After COVID, this investigator meeting have been conducted more remote, but there's still meeting where you go and gather with other people doing research and you can network there. So starting from a clinical research assistant and a clinical research coordinator. If you're starting with no experience, you can start as a CRA, clinical research assistant, not a clinical research associate. These are individuals that work like medical assisting, that they perform some types of procedures that are required for the clinical research, and they support the clinical research coordinator. Okay? If you think about clinical research assistants, they don't need to have a bachelor degree. Sometimes an associate degree is just enough for both of these positions. But these positions are trained at the site. Some sites hire new candidates that they know that they're talented. They hire them, they train them. But some sites, they don't like to do this. They like to hire somebody that is already trained, that knows what they are going to do. And that's basically the difference. You have to, when you want to get into clinical research, market yourself so they can understand how valuable you are for them. And that will help you get the position, get the experience, even if you can get an internship or volunteer for a few months. So you can get that experience in your resume. That will help you a lot, because now you can say what you did during this clinical research trial, what you did during these visits, right? And when they ask you questions, you will be prepared to answer those questions based on your own experience. Okay? Any question here? So when it comes to a research site, a research site is always going to need a coordinator. These are the coordinators are responsible for managing and coordinating the day-to-day operation of the clinical trials. So they do everything from understanding the protocol, learning what is required to do with that protocol, setting up sometimes the source document to run that clinical trial, um, set up any logistics, set up the room, set up the way that the clinical trials is going to be run. They do a lot of things, including reporting to the IRB or reporting any adverse event, anything that they need to, any deviation, they will be have to do that and report that. And these are skills that you learn when you're doing the work. The requirement for CRC typically include a bachelor degree, but it can be, sometimes they come with a high school and they get trained. It just depends on the person, right? The average salary for CRC can start from 60 to 80. Some pay a little less, some pay a little bit more. That depends on the number of studies that you have to and how many years of experience you have. Okay. But here as a research coordinator, you get to do a lot of the work of developing the trials, communicating with the patients, managing the patient's visits, managing that everything is going to do according to the protocol. You communicate with the principal investigator, that's the doctors in charge of overseeing the clinical trials, and you will bring anything that you need to bring to his attention. This is very basic. The clinical research coordinator do a lot, and it's a very, I love it when I was working as a clinical research coordinator, and sometimes right now I support the site as a coordinator and site manager too. So if I need to jump and do some of the work as a research coordinator, I can go and support the team. And I like it. Okay, so the next um, players or the next stakeholders are the principal investigator and sub-investigator. The principal investigator is the medical doctor that is going to be leading the research and is responsible for the conduct of the clinical trial and overseeing the clinical trials. Okay. So they are there, they know the protocols, they know their patients, they make sure that when the patients are being enrolled, they meet the inclusion and the exclusion criteria. Yet the research coordinator, okay, is going to be the one that is also make sure that the principal investigator is doing the work correctly. Okay. Recruiting and managing sites and personnel, ensuring compliance and ethical regulation standards, collecting and managing and analyzing data. This is all done by the principal investigator. Again, the research coordinator support all of this. And some principal investigators are more vested or involved in clinical trials than others. So making sure that the team is working together and that patient safety are maintained, that protocol is followed is very important for each team member. is not only the sole responsible of the investigator. Requirement for the principal investigator typically involves a doctorate degree. Okay, you can have a medicine and dentistry and pharmacy or nurse certified nurse practitioner. So I have a couple of questions that ask, can a dentist be a principal investigator? Yes, they can. Nurse practitioner? Yes, they can. Okay. The Whether or not they're accepted in the protocol, it will depend on the sponsor. Okay. Sometimes there are sponsors that have higher requirements from who's going to be the principal investigator. It means that how many years of experience they want the investigator to have in order for them to be awarded with the clinical trials. But there is opportunity for healthcare providers to start clinical trials within their practice. Okay, so if you're a medical doctor who has an active medical license and you want to include clinical trials to your site, to your medical practice, you can do that. It's possible. Okay. The average salary for principal investigator will vary, and this depends whether the investigator is being hired to work at the research site or if they are going to be the ones opening their own research site within their medical practice. And the sub-investigators are can be principal investigators in the future. Sometimes these are new doctors who are starting to get experience in clinical research and who are trying to get more experience with in a specific study. Sometimes they just want to come in, see how that works. The sub-investigators will do what the principal investigator do, and they can be responsible to do some of the physical exams and collect some of the data necessary for the trial. But it's going to be the principal investigator who delegates the sub-investigator or what the sub-investigator can do and can't do. Any question for now? Raise your hands. Let me know if I'm going too fast, if you're getting everything.
Can a foreign medical graduate doctor become a principal investigator without having a license in the United States?
Can you repeat the question again?
Can a foreign medical graduate become a principal investigator without having any board certification in the United States?
Okay, so also the FDA don't require the investigator to be a board licensed physician. Most sponsors will seek that the investigator have an active medical license.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other hands up? I don't see nobody, so let me. If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. So now, how do you get into clinical research? This is the question that everybody has, and there are many steps that you can take. Okay. How I recommend to do it, it's just be involved with what clinical research is and find your whys. Why do you want to go into clinical research? Okay. Your whys might be different from your partners or other colleagues. You might want it to use as a trampoline and get into experience in clinical research. You might just want to get there and get a good job and a stable career so you can grow. You can do that. But depending on what you want to do is how you're going to work your strategy. Okay. So know about the role. There are many different sites that are job posts. So when you read the job post, if you're linking and you're reading that job post, don't focus on the title, focus on the things. Can you do the things or can you be trained to do those things? Okay. And then you find something that you like, you gotta search the company. What is this company like? Okay. What is the culture like? What products do they have in their pipeline? Is this a cardiology medicine? Like if you're a cardiologist, go find companies or pharmaceutical companies hiring within your area of expertise, because that's where you can bring the most. You might not be knowledgeable in everything about clinical trials, but you know a lot about cardiology and you're a professional, and then you can use who you are in order to move up. But what I see is that there are people that just they throw out a lot of resume out there, CVs to a lot of companies, and the same CV to every company, and they don't get hired, they don't get called, and then you wonder why. Instead of doing that, just make sure that every CV that you're sending for that role is something that you want to get. Because if you want to get any, if you select 10 roles, these are the 10 roles that you want, you search the companies and you continue to follow up on them, you will have better chances that if you just throw 100 resume there and you forget to who you threw your resume to. Okay, adapt terminology. Medical terminology and clinical research terminology is different, and then you need to learn how to navigate that terminology. For example, sometimes I get confused side effects with adverse events. Side effects is when the drug is gone to the market, is already approved. Adverse event is something that you notice that happened during the patient visit that was not there before, or that it got worse. Okay, so trying to understand what are the changes there. Network. So in LinkedIn, you can do a lot of network. You can connect with people similar to you. And what I recommend here when you network is just don't send a long text or long message to people. Just let them know, just a quick, hey, I see that you're working on this or that. I'm interested in following a career in this field. Would you be able to connect with me 10, 15 minutes to answer a few questions? If you can't, here are my two questions. What do you recommend as a starting point for me to do? Or how can what skills do I need to improve that will make me successful in this career? And just ask simple questions that they can reply to, but don't make a long test, because by the time that the person read the test, they're lost, and probably that's why you are not going to get a lot of replies, okay? Or responses from your messages, okay? So be concise, be direct, acknowledge that these people normally are busy, they have a lot of things going on, and they cannot respond to every one of you. And then follow up. If you really want to connect with this person and this person did not answer you, give them a week. Hi, and then follow up. Hi, I just want to know if you would be available for a few minutes to talk, or if you can help me with these questions that I have. Thank you so much for your time. And then that's it. Update your LinkedIn page. Many of you have your LinkedIn page and they don't have a photo. They have a photo of a baby. They have a photo that it's not there with you. If someone's searching for you, they would see your face. Okay. And if you're applying to recruiters and you're sharing your LinkedIn and your LinkedIn doesn't have a picture about who you are and what you do, and you don't have a message there clear enough to attract people to hire you, you might lose the opportunity. Okay? So tailoring your resume. This is when, if you're going to apply for a research coordinator positions, make sure that you use your skills and you use who you are, but that you can answer to that job post. For example, if they want you to have attention to details or GCP and anything that they want you to have, that you're tailoring to that. Okay, you are saying, yes, I have my GCP. I'm going to let you know further of the certifications that you need. But if they ask you for attention to detail, how are you getting with your attention to detail? If you already work in clinical trials, how many clinical trials were you worked on? If you were helping in recruiting patients, how many patients were you able to recruit? So putting up the numbers is very important. If you help an organization reach to XY number of participants, how you did that? How, what skills do you have that you can show that they are aligned with that request or that job post, right? If you're looking for a medical monitoring position, then there is where you're going to share how were you able to monitor clinical trials, how you see patients, how you're able to assess data, how you're able to use your computer skills like Microsoft Excel's data analysis. And there are a lot of training Coursera that you can go to coursera.com and you can get a lot of training. If you have been following me, you're going to see that I post every time that I complete a certification, I put it out there. Okay. So do that too. Complete certifications that align what you're doing, what you want to do, and put it out there so people see how you're growing, what are you doing, and they can hire you in the future. Okay. So make it CEO and ATS proof. I have seen, and this was one of my mistakes, that I made my resume very pretty, and there are resumes that are screened by artificial intelligence. And they're not going to be seen by the recruiter most of the time. The recruiter will get just a number of resume that best match what they are looking for. So that's why tailoring your resume to that job post, so you add those words that can help you get seen by the recruiter. Okay? And then continue to follow up. If you see that the company has a linking page, connect with them, see what they're doing. If you see that the company have other people working there that you can connect with them, ask them, hey, I'm considering your company. What's the culture like? What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? Okay. And then you can start gathering data. Any question for now? Everybody good? I know I'm giving you a lot. Sarah, you have a question? Go ahead.
For example, if I'm not a cardiologist, can I apply for a clinical trial related to cardiology?
Yes, you
Or
can apply to. You
even
can
if
apply
I'm not,
to.
even if
Mhm.
I'm just a general practitioner.
Sure, because you already have medical background with knowledge. But if you have if you had a background with cardiology, it will make it easier for you to go into the cardiology field because you're going to leverage what you have. As a general practitioner, there's many routes that you can go, starting for vaccine, um, clinical trials that are for healthy participants on a phase 1 studies. You can be of help of the investigator conducting many clinical trials, and it doesn't matter the area where they're conducting it, right? Because as a general practitioner, medical doctor, you can call patient, you can talk to patient, you can screen patients, you can answer questions that patient has, and you already have that in you. And one of the most important thing that clinical research site needs is someone that can help them bring patients. In this case, in research, we call them subjects or participants, but yeah, there are going to be people that you bring in, those participants. You're going to ask questions, you're going to answer their questions, and you're going to follow up with them. So in clinical research, you can, as a doctor, you can develop a relationship with those patients, and then that helps increase the retention of those participants. So you're valuable in any clinical research site.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay. So right now, let me see. I got everyone in. Okay. So there are right now many as you go up and develop more skills and or you continue to grow your career, you're going to know that there are going to be employers that are going to ask for more than 3 interviews. So when I was going into clinical research, I had interviews, phone screening interview, then we did a Zoom interview, and then we did a on-site interview. Okay, so be ready to go to different interview process and make sure that this is a job that you want to take. Okay. Okay. Prepare to submit proof or present. Sometimes they want you to share, what your qualifications are. And then they want you to make a presentation to make sure that you are able to present, to communicate effectively with a group, that you can talk to physicians effectively. So all of these things are things that you will need to continue to develop as you grow. So if you're an employee, just make sure that you can present, that you can communicate with others, get reference ready and available. Some sites will like that you submit references, and some employers too, and they will check those references. So don't submit a number and emails of people that are not willing to talk well about you, and they're not willing to take those calls. Sometimes you're going to get rejected. Every time that you get rejected, it's just part of getting hired, all right? Ask questions. Why were you not hired? If they can make a recommendation, what would that be? So I always like to, at the end of my interviews, ask at the end of the interview, is there something that you have not seen in me that you would like to see in the candidate for this role? And they might say something, yes, I want to see more about organization skills. And then I can come and say, well, how I am good with my organization skills, or with my time management, or what systems I use to keep things organized and my time managed. And if you don't have what it takes at that moment, don't be upset with you. Just take note and get ready for next time, because any skill that is out there you can learn. There's a lot that you can do. It's just learning all the possibilities that you have within clinical research or any other industry, and then just hitting those points. Where can you go to find job opportunities? You can go to Indeed.com. You can go to LinkedIn Jobs. There are many sites that you can go. I also like to see at the companies on career post. Every company, like if you go to a pharmaceutical company and you enter careers, you're going to see that they have openings. And you can go directly to those openings and apply and see what they're looking for. If you want to prepare, let's say you want to go and work with Bayer, you go to Bayer's career, you see what they're hiring for, okay? And you see that there's another company just growing up, a startup, what they're looking for. Okay, let me see, how can I help? And then you start building up the skills so you can have those positions in the future, okay? Any question here? Okay, everybody good? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're following, if you're getting this, so I know that you're okay. Okay, perfect, wonderful, thank you. Now, let's go. How can we do it? How can we get to clinical research? So for now, I have provided with you a landscape of what is clinical research, okay? I have provided you with a framework that you can use to grow into clinical trials, into clinical research, okay? But for any job, anything that you want to do, you want to have your own framework. How would you plan and get clarity explore and research, develop and improve, and then you perform and analyze, okay? Because if you stay only in planning and gaining clarity, and you say, yes, I want to get into clinical research because I want to improve my chances of getting matched into a residency program in 2025, and you stay there, you're not doing much. You have to go and explore what can you do. That's why you're here, exploring what can you do to get into clinical research if this is right for you. Okay, then you continue to do your research. What you need to do, what skills do you need to have? Okay? Then development and improvement. Every day there's opportunity for learn. And if you want to develop and improve yourself, don't just throw 100 resumes to 100 companies. Just put them out there and then see, how can I make it better? How can next week I make some change that will make me better? Can I take a training on communication? Can I take a training on sales? Can I take a training in project management? Can I manage better my time? Can I learn how to work better with Excel? There's a Coursera training right now that I'm taking, data analysis. You can take any training that you need. Once you have clarity, you know where you're going, you explore and research, start looking for what skills do you need to develop and start working on one. You develop it, move to the other one. And then perform and analyze. Performing means that now you're taking all that you need, right? Now you're getting out of the computer and going to knock some doors and say, hey, I'm ready here for a job. I want to apply. And you start to do some things. You start reaching out to people. You start to messaging better on LinkedIn. And you see, okay, what is working for me and what is not working for you, and do more of the things that are working. Any question about this? I will be going a little more detail. Okay. So here, for planning and getting clarity. So where you are and where you want to go. So this starts with you, listing your skills, your strengths, and interests. Okay, this goes for you to know a little bit more of who you are. And this it's a working process. The more you do, the more you get out there, the more you learn, the more you find out things about you that you might not know. The more skills you develop, the more eager you're gonna be to learn other skills. Okay, and they're gonna make you capable of learning other skills. If your Microsoft Office skills is not very good, you need to start working on that. That's something that you need to develop. Many companies will have you do webinars, meeting, communications, okay? And these are things that are transferable and that you can start working with those skills. If you already have them, strength, like what things are you can learn to make it better? How are you going to use your Microsoft Office better? So if you have a calendar, you're already using your calendar, maybe now you're color coding. Maybe now you're adding some templates so you can communicate faster. Okay. So always look to improve. What is your SMART goal and why you want it and when do you want it? So let's say you want to get into clinical research in 12th week. You're going to say, why do you want to do this? What is important for you, for your family? Do you see yourself in that position? When you want to get that position? And then you start working toward that. What are your strategies? What are you going to use to get there? Okay. So are you going to reach out to people in LinkedIn? Are you going to visit sites near you? Are you going to start mapping or using the people that you already know to help you? Okay. And then start making those actionable things that you can do to get there and execute on them, right? If you write a list, I'm going to visit 5 sites this month, but you don't go and visit those sites, you will not get there. Explore research. So exploring a research means that clinical research is very broad. So you got to start learning the fundamentals. What are clinical research, clinical trials, how they are run. Start reading about them. Start looking more information about them. Get to know what is the FDA, get to know what is the NIH, what is an IRB, okay? When you go to, sorry, just move. When you go to research the role, it will tell you, when you research the role, it will tell you what is expected for you for that role. And that's something that you can take and break it down. Okay, how I do this, how I do that, how am I going to meet what this wording means? And then you find out what are the job opportunities for you. Research others like you on LinkedIn. Like if you go to LinkedIn, you can see that there are people that started on clinical research as a site coordinator, then they moved up, then they continue to move up, and they go to different routes, and you're like, how this person got here? But you can see their projection. You see how they progressed. And it's very interesting because it's going to give you an understanding what other people are doing to get there. Okay, especially as an MSL for medical science liaison, there are people that started, in research sites, and then they continue to grow into that positions, and then they got to medical affairs. Okay. Any question from everybody? Good. Okay, let's move again. Development and improvement. There are many trainings there that you can take. There are paid trainings. Their trainings are free, and I can give you a list of some of the free trainings. What certification you can take? I'm going to share a slide at the end. What missing skills will you develop and improve? How are you going to present your value? This is where I see that most of us, like medical doctors, we don't know. We don't do it very well. Like we go, and sometimes we come here to the States and we lose our confidence. And some of you even don't write that you're a doctor. You write something else and you're a doctor. And I have seen your profile and I'm like, oh, this is a doctor, but you're not writing that in your linking. It's like you forget who you are. So gain confidence of your ability, of your skills, and then do this before you go into present your value. If you know that you can help this site recruit patients because of your skills in the field and your skills of communicating with patients, go and share with them. How can you help them, and be prepared to help them. Be prepared to offer the value first, okay? And be confident. Be ready to do what it takes, okay?
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Can I write that I am a pharmacist in my LinkedIn, even if I don't have permission to exercise here in Canada?
So you have a degree, right, in pharmacy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, always show who you are, because you don't lose your skills just because you go to another country. You're still a pharmacist. You're still who you are. You might not be licensed on that state, but you just don't lose your knowledge because you jump to another state.
Okay.
So don't be afraid of show who you are, and talk about what you like. I've seen people that are on LinkedIn, but you can be on LinkedIn two ways. You can produce content that help others and that help you gain visibility, or you can be there as a consumer, just only reading and seeing and not responding to others. Okay. When you start responding, when you start sharing, when you start, let's say you're in a pharmacist and you are following a certain company, share the company that you're following, why you're following, what are you learning from that company, okay? Because that's how you show that you're an expert in that area.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So in order to get everything started up, like You want to have your goal that is smart. Okay? And for example, your goal can be get into clinical trials experience at the research site in the next 3 months. It means that during the next 3 months, you're going to break it down in 12 weeks, and you're going to put it in a way that you can achieve that goal. So this is a simple strategy that you can use and copy and start work with. Learn research and clinical trial fundamentals. If you're new to research, I recommend this book. This is Understanding Clinical Research by Renato Lopez. And this book, it just talked about the history and how clinical trials are from phase 1 to phase 4. And it's a very good book to start getting some knowledge in clinical research. There are other books that I recommend. I'm going to share it in one of the slides. And there's a lot of things that even if you put in YouTube, right? In YouTube, you can find a lot about it. You can see how other people are doing and just research and read. I have a link for the FDA. The FDA also give an investigator training. You can go there and read and learn. The more you get prepared, the better you're going to be. Increase your value and skills and complete the certifications. In week 4 to 7, that's where you can start working on this, so you can position yourself better. Okay. From week 8 to 9, update your LinkedIn profile, your CV and resume, and practice interviewing. You might want to hire someone to help you practice interviewing. You might want to start learning about other ways to interview or ways to answer questions. Okay. From week 10 to 12, you want to start networking with people. Now you're ready. Now you do your research. You completed the certification that are going to position better, and you updated your CV. You practice your interview. You're gonna start networking. You can start networking at the beginning, but if an opportunity comes, you're not gonna be ready. So I recommend to be ready. So for the opportunity comes, you can take it. Apply for jobs. Visit the research sites in person. So some research sites might not be hiring, okay? And you can identify research sites near you. And even though they might not be hiring, you can go and say, hey, I want to help you with your patient recruitment. I want to help you finding new clinical trials for your site. I want to help you training your personal or time management skills. And there's a lot of things that you can offer based on your skills and qualifications, and that you can just offer them. And it might open the opportunity for you to come and work with them, get the experience, and continue to grow. Okay. So I know I have people here that were with me in the past webinar. How many of you completed your GCP training? Raise your hand. If it's okay if you did not, but if you really want to get into clinical research, there are things that you have to have. I have somebody that completed. Wow, that's great. Because if you want to be ready at a research site, they're going to be looked that you already have your GCP training. Okay, and this GCP training can be, you go to this address over here and you can get it for free. Okay, and this is going to inform you about a lot about clinical trials. I think have a lot of information. I have a question. Ginette, you can go. Oh, Deep all. Do you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I just had to raise my hand like who went through the GCP training. So I'm sorry. It was, let me just take it back. Sorry about
No, that's good. Okay. So the GCP training, this is free. It takes between 4 to 6 hours. It got the modules. You can go there, complete the training. Okay. And that is something that you can show when you go to a site to get experience. Yes, I have my GCP training. I have my YATA training. This is the second training that you can have. You get ready to start. They don't need to go and train you because you're going to be prepared to be to start working at one of their projects. Okay, phlebotomy. There's some states that you don't need the phlebotomy certification. It's always good to have a phlebotomy certification or know to do phlebotomy really well, because for most studies, you will need to collect blood samples. And this can be tricky. Not everybody like it. I can do it. There are people that are very hard for me to draw their blood. But if you have these skills, you want to come and work with me, I will be happy just to have somebody to help me with these things that I don't like, and that's where you can provide value for them. These are simple things that you can do for a site. CPR is just one of those skills and certification that is good to have and to know for saving people's life, for saving even your life, right? And most site will like that you have your CPR training. HIPAA certification, when it comes to making sure that patient confidentiality are kept, be HIPAA certified. You can do that. You can get some of the certifications online, and that's something that can boost your chances. Now, there are a lot of clinical research coordinator certification training. I have fast courses that are out there. If you're a medical doctor, I did not paid for clinical research coordinator. I jumped in, I started learning, but I grasped things very fast and I did my research. So when I came to the position, I already read the books. I already knew, what was going on the clinical research. And I like this book from Dan Sfera. Okay. This book, Dan Sfera, just break things up very easy, very basic for you to understand what's going on at a research site. This was one of the things that got me started. Along with, he has a YouTube video too on how to start in clinical trials. And this is like 4 to 5 hours long. If you have time, just go sit down and see that training. I can send you the link of the training if you cannot find it. But this was, I saw it, I think like 3 times. I put it in double speed. So even when I was cleaning my house, I'll have the video, start, getting all the information with me. I sat down, take my notes. I got his book, and it just very eye-opening, especially if you're new. And then I was, supplement with your own knowledge, skills that you have. How can you do this better? How can you provide value to this, to sites around you? How do you see yourself performing as a research coordinator? Okay. Here, clinical investigator training course. This is free. You can get it there. The NIH.gov also have free trainings. The Mayo Clinic also got free trainings. ACRP, sometimes there are paid and free training there. You can take a look. Okay. Any question for now? We cover a lot. So I hope that, this presentation has been eye-opening for you, and then you can start your career in research. Now you know what you need to do, how you can do it. Certification are easy to get. You just do it online. And then set up a plan for you to do it. Like if you really want to do it, just set up a plan how you're going to do it, how you're going to hit your goals, and start learning, communicating with other people, because sometimes it's just the people that you know that can help you get there. Okay. Ravi, you have a question?
Yes, you mentioned about the clinical research coordinator certification, right? There are so many different organizations online offering that certification. Does it matter which particular organizations rank higher, or where you're getting your training from? Like, for example, NIH, Mayo Clinic, they're there. They do provide some of the training, right? There are other
Yes,
resources as well. So does it
yes.
matter which organization you're getting the certification from?
I think that the basic thing for someone that is starting up is just understanding the whole concept about clinical research and
Mhm.
just start with what is free sources out there, okay? And start moving yourself and trying to get into a research site where you can get the experience. And the
Okay.
reason why is because I know that if you're unemployed, it's going to be very hard for you to pay thousands of dollars on a
Mhm.
research training without you even know that you're going to get hired, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
the research training is just only going to teach you how to perform some of the roles that are for a research coordinator. And you probably can get that in 2 days of training. Like you can do informed consenting in patients. Like if you're a doctor, you already know how to inform consent in patients. You just
Mhm.
have to learn how to do it in research. Okay.
Correct.
And once you
Okay.
see somebody doing, you practice and you can get it there.
Sounds.
Recruiting patients. You can learn how to recruit patients and do it for a site. So there are many things that you can learn that you don't need to pay somebody. But if you like to take trainings and if you have the resources to pay for trainings, you can go ahead and do it because it's going to help you. Any training that you want to take is going to help you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
can help you complement your skills and even look better. Like it shows that you went through all the trouble of taking this training. But you can start with the free ones.
Mhm.
Good clinical practice is free, okay, and
Okay.
it's required from the sponsor. The YATA training, this is free and it's required when you work in a site to ship products out. Phlebotomy, that can cost you, but you can use it in other industry as well. CPR and HIPAA certification, this is all across healthcare, and this doesn't cost a lot and can help you prepare. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, so any other questions that you have? I think I have covered everything for this day. If you have any questions, just raise your hands so everybody can take a turn. Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
So, if I'm a medical student and I want to collaborate with medical doctors who are interested in clinical research, for example, to do to work with them, like making maybe case reports or meta-analysis, like how can I do that?
My case report and what else?
Case reports or maybe meta-analysis in a certain file. How can I enhance my chances to collaborate with those people?
Well, first you gotta find the people who are doing that, right? Because not every doctor it want to work on creating their own protocols and work on publishing and writing, okay? But you might go to talk to other doctors in your community and share what you want to do and see if they have a need for that. So, for example, you can go to a doctor's office and say, "Hey, I'm Doctor I don't know, Dr. Sarah, because I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Last name, One. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's correct.
Doc, Dr. One. And you can say, if I could help you how to write you ECRF or case report, would you be interested in working on a project with me? And if they say yes, it, you have the opportunity. If they say no, would you consider to work in the future in your own publishing or writing your own case reports? They might say yes or maybe, and then you have your chance to go and help them. Sometimes you're going to receive a lot of no's before you get a yes, but it's
Yes, exactly. I received a lot of rejections because I don't have any experience. So that's why I'm asking you.
okay. But find ways to build your own experience. So if you're not writing your own case reports, can you review some of the case reports and see how they are done? And maybe try to come up with your own format of your case report. Working your
Yes.
own case report and saying, okay, Dr. Johnson or Dr. Torres, I'm writing a case report on such patients. Would you mind if I can have access to your database or see your or work with you? You just have to craft how it would be exciting for them, but at the same time that is not going to take them a lot of time, because doctors, they just busy, and they work and they like to see their patients, but sometimes it's going to be difficult for them to set up the time to do other things like research. But you might find someone who's looking for you, who wants to have some help, and they're going to tell you, oh, I was looking for you. Just
Yeah.
don't keep on doing it.
Yes. Sure. I have another question, please.
Of course.
How can I find my field of interest? Because in medicine, everything is interesting, like oncology, dermatology, ophthalmology. I can't find my field of interest, so I don't know how to start to like how can I find my field of interest?
Yeah, it's you will what I would recommend is that if you have five, from those five, you select which one are you good at, which one you have higher possibilities, and which one will help you fulfill your goals. And then after you have your list, you just pick one and start working with that one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Deep all, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So my question
Hi.
is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, so as a physician, as a doctor, uh, after we apply for jobs like CTA or CRA, most of the rejections come as either we are overly qualified, or if we go for a clinical scientist, they say we don't have industry experience. Uh, so as an MD, where do we start, or where do we just get into? I mean, like most some of the time, one of the biggest challenge as an immigrant, what I had was prolonged visa, which was a barrier because I don't say it's a barrier, but I did get into a lot of research in academia. But to step into industry, it took a while. I mean, it's taking a while. And then they say that I don't have any industry experience, though I have experience in clinical trials. So, what would be the right place that I would apply for?
Okay. So when you start in the CRA, what the CRA is doing is monitoring sites that they're following the protocol, basically.
Mhm.
They do a lot more like that than that, but just for you to have an idea. If you get a position in at the research site and you understand what's going on the research site, you will also network with other CRAs that come to visit the site to monitor it, to share information. What are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? And then you're going to start understanding how they build the reports, what they're looking for, how do they work. Okay.
Mhm.
And they can even recommend you, right? Sometimes great CRC do great CRAs because they know what's going on at the site. They know how to communicate with the investigators. You can start getting a position here. And they will say, like, you might be overqualified. So you can say, so that means that I'm qualified to do the work. So is it a concern about salary? Because that's what they think, that you might be requiring a higher salary that they can afford for. You can say, what is your salary range for this position? I'm comfortable with that salary pay. Okay,
Mhm.
so you take out of the compensation or the salary out of the person, like what other objections can they have? Your medical doctors, you can provide a lot of value for them. They might not be able to afford what you're worth. That might be some problems, but if you're able to accommodate maybe a lower payers job or position, so you can learn and grow and get higher payers a pay job in the future, that will be a good strategy for you because they
Mhm.
are going to be paying you. and you're going to be getting experience, and you can later move on to the position that you're seeking, right? And this is just a step to go into any position. For example, in clinical trial management, CRA wants to go into clinical trial management, and they do a lot of managing data. That's why developing skills in Excel, in databases can help you. So as you go into clinical research coordinator, what other skills can you develop that can help you move up? Now you're building your experience in clinical trials. Now you're developing new skills that can help you move up, and just continue to do that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question before we leave? Okay, so that's conclude the meeting for today. Let me see, help you. For every one of you here, I will appreciate if you can go here and scan this QR code and let me know that you came to this webinar. And also let me know what other questions you have and what would you like to see in the other webinar. This webinar is being recorded, so I hope I can share it with you in the future, and I can share it with others, and then for next webinar, we can have different topics that are relevant to you, okay? Thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Thank you, everybody. If
Thank
you
you.
want to, you're welcome. So for those that want to take maybe 5 minutes to talk about themselves and present themselves of what you're looking for as a way to overcome the fear of talking with others, you can go ahead, show your camera, show a little bit about yourself. I think that when we present and show who we are and get this exercise done, it can help you. Okay? So if anyone want to do it, let me know and we can do it and take a few minutes to do that. Moses, you have a question? Let me see who has a question here.
No, I don't have any question. That was a mistake.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So if we had some people presenting themselves in the beginning, so for those that came late, if you want to do that, you can do it too. If not, okay. Let me see if I don't have any question or any question on the chat.
Do we have to show our camera?
No, that's okay if you just want to
Okay.
speak.
All right. So my name is Moses Okazu. I own a clinical research site in Houston, and at the moment we are in the process of looking for studies. And I do have 3 PI, 1 sub-I, and 4 coordinators on site. And we do dermatology, women's health, vaccines, lupus, any primary care studies. We also conduct those also. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Sorry, our website is www.n as in Nancy, D as in David, W as in Winston, M as in Moses, C as in Charlie.com. ndwmc.com is our website. Thank you.
You're welcome, Moses. Ravi.
Yeah, so let me introduce myself, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Ravi Patel. I'm MBBS MD with board certification in medical affairs specialist. I'm also ECFMG certified with completion of the all USMLE steps here in States. I've had about 7 years of clinical experience in various healthcare settings, including clinics, as well as the hospital and internal medicine and its subspecialties. I've been trying to break into a clinical research, MSL, or medical affairs position. So that's why I attended this webinar to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. I wish you the best. I see that you're very prepared. Congratulations on
Thank you.
the
Thank you. Feel free to
ESMLE.
connect on LinkedIn anytime.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anyone else that want to speak before we leave? If not, I'll see you in the next webinar.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sharing my LinkedIn page if anyone wants to connect. Thank you so much for all the information, Jennifer. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Ravi. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm going to be breaking it up easier and more. I have somebody. Okay, I'll break it up easier for you to start committing up those steps. But for now, all of you, if you can start with the GCP and the IATA, that will be giving you a head start. Okay. So here is this QRS to scan and complete the form. If there's anything else that you need me to send you, please go ahead and ask the questions in the form so I can get those questions for you. Okay, no one else have questions? See you everybody next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.